The Miss Universe pageant is trending today. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this pageant. One contestant was kicked off of the competition for comments she made about Muslims. And there was also the most awkward and terrible moment, really, that I've ever seen in pageant history. Watch this.
Okay, folks. I have to apologize. The first runner-up is Colombia. Miss Universe 2015 is Philippines. Listen, folks, let me just take control of this. This is exactly what's on the card. I will take responsibility for this. It was my mistake. It was on the card. Horrible mistake, but the right thing, I can show it to you right here. The first runner-up is Colombia. It is my mistake. Still a great night. Please don't hold it against the ladies. Please don't. We feel so badly, but it's still a great night. Thank you all.
Here to discuss is a chief political correspondent for USA Radio Networks and someone who I am crowning right now, Miss America Trends 2015, Scottie Hughes. Welcome back to America Trends.
Gina, I'm kind of upset. You're giving me 1 week. I get 1 week of a crown here. I mean, what is it? Next week you're going to crown 2016? I mean, I think I've been in the short end of this deal. You're treating me almost as bad as they treat Miss Puerto Rico.
Well, actually, I'm upset because you don't have a tiara on, and as a Southern belle that you are, I got your Christmas card today, completely intimidated by your perfection. Where is your tiara, Scottie Hughes?
Well, I'm actually at my parents' house, and so in my mother's house, there's only one woman who wears the tiara, and it's not mine. And so she's wearing it, and here I just get to, you know, be the little peasant that serves.
Smart, smart, smart daughter you are. All right, Scottie, you actually were the one that alerted me to this. I was watching a movie with my family when you texted me and said, you have to turn this on right now. Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. So I turned it on and I watched, and thankfully I kept watching after she was crowned because I knew something more had to happen than just this woman crowned. Frankly, from their interview questions, they were pretty much all belligerent. I really had no respect for any of the final three whatsoever, including USA. So I didn't really care at that point, but I knew something happened. So I kept watching. And the thing that occurs to me today is that I think neither one of the two finalists, the first runner-up and the one that ultimately won Miss Universe, I don't think either one of them actually spoke much English. So did they even know what was going on when the crown was given to the wrong contestant?
No, Gina, you're right. They did not know. And that was one of the issues with Miss Colombia. In fact, I was expecting her to take back and like slug Miss Universe 2014 when she was trying to take the crown off her. But let's back it up to a good point that you brought up was about the questions that they asked. I mean, these were very, very politically correct questions. Miss Australia was given a question that her answer was about the legalization, why she believed that they needed to legalize marijuana in Australia. And you had Paris gave some people might say a horrible answer, but was asked about how to stop terrorism. And she said, well, we need to hunt them down. People said that was a bad question or a bad answer to it. Miss United States talked about gun control and shocker from California. So these questions, there were harder questions asked last night than those that were asked at the Democratic debate Saturday night. And whatever happened to questions where the answers for beauty contestants were just world peace? Let's go back to world peace.
Right. Yeah, because these girls, let's just say they're not really known for their answers on this kind of thing. They had ridiculed Donald Trump, I understand, during the pageant. I think it was you that actually told me that. They had answered the questions in about the most politically correct way you possibly could. Then apparently there was one candidate who had tweeted something about there's a distinction between Christianity and Judaism and Islam, that Islam is quite different from Judeo-Christian faith. And she was actually, if I understand correctly, I think she was actually X'd from the pageant itself. Her Twitter page was taken down. And what else happened to her?
Well, you're talking about Miss Puerto Rico herself,
Yes.
yes. She just tweeted out some comments that actually the majority of Americans do feel right now. And hence why you have people like Donald Trump at the very top. And listen, we all make mistakes. And I do feel sorry for the host, Steve Harvey, who's used to reading off a card. Except for one little fact, is that it was such a blatant, politically correct, anti-Donald Trump event that I went, you know what? You get what you take for. You don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And so right before it started, he tweeted out to President Obama going, hey, President Obama, are you watching Miss Universe? Perez Hilton, one of the judges, in the middle of this says, hey, guess we're Trump free. We are all about no Trump being here, and went on this anti-Trump rant. And Steve Harvey allowed it to happen. So guess what? If that's going to happen, you better make sure it runs perfectly. and that's what we were missing. But you know what? Here's my question for you. Why are we listening to women who are carb deprived, wearing at least 4 pairs of Spanx, and whose toes are literally surgically inserted into stilettos? Why do we trust their brain cells for anything if they allow those things to happen to their bodies? Oh, and overwaxed, because we know they're still burning in some areas that were not meant to be burning.
Scottie, after Steve Harvey initially made the mistake, at least he took the blame. Do you think he handled himself the right way after he made this mistake? He was dancing all over that stage, not kind of knowing what to do.
Well, what was bad about it is that he actually tweeted out and he misspelled. I mean, I didn't know that the Philippians were back and this was Miss Philippian. Right. I think that was going to Miss Columbia. I think, you know, if you're going to tweet out, and especially when there's heavy emotion, but this was the professionalism that I think Mr. Trump expected out of his organizations. This is the professionalism he expects out of his own organization. I think this is what he's going to expect out of his country when he is president. And it's our country, but he's going to expect people to do their jobs. That's what was missing out of all of this. They were so big on making such a politically correct and challenging statement that they forgot about the details. And in the end, unfortunately, we had a horrible crash that happened outside where some have died, where we're sitting here going, okay, what's the real story? Conspiracy theorists right now are having a field day about what was the motivation of this crazy woman who in the end was just crazy with the 3-year-old who mowed down people there on the strip. And if we would apply some of the same techniques the left you have used against us as conservatives, both with the pageant and the events that happened afterwards, I promise you it'd be a totally different narrative right now, and we wouldn't just be talking about the pageant itself.
Scottie, all in all, what do you think will happen with this? Do you think that the woman that was ultimately crowned gets to keep it, and they just try to do a better job next year?
I'm going to tell you, Miss Columbia has just made the deal of the year. She is the most known runner-up. She will have more deals from, like, car companies. She'll go and be like, oops, you got the wrong car.
Don't you know?
I mean, she's got it made. She's going to be more Billboard up than NASCAR.
We're out of time. Scottie, thanks so much for being with us. Merry Christmas. Up next, Governor Mike Huckabee. Stay right where you are.